Dear students of 9A and 9B, today's topic, the Reformation, chapter number 12. The points as I mentioned in the board: impact of Reformation, achievements of the concepts Renaissance and Reformation, decline of the authority of the Roman Catholic Church, Counter Reformation. First point, impact of the Reformation. Impact of the Reformation. You know, the Reformation was started with a view to question the wrong practices of the Catholic Church. The Reformation was nothing but a movement. That movement showed the pathway of establishing a new concept which gave the rise of a new world. The people became conscious, the people became aware of their duties and responsibilities. And ultimately what happened? After a series of events like Renaissance, Reformation, England established their own church, the Church of England, and afterwards English monarch also became head of the English church. And the split, after the split from Rome, the establishment of the Anglican church also had become possible. Besides, a number of reformers dedicated their lives for making the people aware of their duties and responsibilities. People should read and interpret what they were taught. Luther protested against the sale of indulgences. The church became aware of their drawbacks, and ultimately in each and every part the church reviewed the church realized their defects and decided to make up their defects. Now how? The Reformation movement. Due to Reformation movement, the Reformation movement gave a birth of various causes through which the people became sincere, alert, people became aware of their duties and responsibilities. The whole world became conscious due to the growth of two movements, the Renaissance and the Reformation. Now, there are some effects, some impacts of the Renaissance, of the Reformation. The Catholic Church, the Catholic Church looked within itself. The Catholic Church looked within itself to solve some of the problems that lay within itself. They decided to solve some of their problems because of the Reformation, because of the inquiry, spirit of inquiry, because of the reasoning, questioning by each and every person who already gained knowledge from the social and political and religious reformers. And that's why a number of societies which were developed to improve a lot of the poorer sections of the society, the Catholic Church realized its drawback. Besides, Jesuits also set up by Father Ignatius Loyola the important things. The Jesuits set up their churches by Father Ignatius Loyola in order to provide people, in order to provide facilities and conveniences of the people. This organization was dedicated to educating the people and uplifting of the poor. The church then took upon itself to set up educational institutions and healthcare centers to bring back the lost faith and glory of the people. Ultimately, this is known as the Counter Reformation. the Catholic Church realized that something is wrong there with them. These, wrong practices should be immediately given up, and instead of it, they must take initiative so that people must gain faith of the Roman Catholic Church and they must gain back their former glory and image. That's why the Catholic Church started reforming, and this system is known as Counter Reformation. The Reformation, which was started by the Protestants under the able guidance and leadership of Martin Luther, in protest against that system, or in order to check the growing popularity of Martin Luther and his followers, Protestants, the Catholic Church decided to make up their defects by way of reconstructing the entire system of the church, and by way of gaining back their former glory and image, faith of the people, they started another reformation. This reformation is known as Counter Reformation. The Reformation had a profound social impact and effect on the whole of Europe. Why and how? One of the points raised by the Protestant preachers started Protestant movement, Reformation, under the able guidance and leadership of Martin Luther, and ultimately his followers, Martin Luther's followers, scattered the Protestant movement throughout the whole Europe, that the Bible needs to be translated into local languages, and that church service should be in the language of the local people, so that people must understand what to do and what not to do, and they must be taught properly and must attend each and every meeting, each and every religious seminars in the church, and not in. That's why this system broke the power of Latin as the lingua franca of Europe. The unifying feature of the church was lost. Each person followed his own version of faith, and the central authority of the church ceased to exist. Ultimately, what happened? The concept of nationhood and royalty to the king took its places, and which created a new feeling of nationalism based on language and faith. The two movements, the Renaissance and the Reformation, already gave rise to a strong nation. They, also saw the lessening of the power of the Pope and the Roman Catholic Church. Ultimately, they emerged a strong sense of unity among the people with similar language, similar culture. Thus, well-defined boundaries grew in Europe, and the monarchy was strengthened with the growth of trade and commerce. The traders, they came forward in order to protect the interests of the monarchs, and for that reason the monarchs became more and more powerful with the help of the traders, the help of the businessmen, and as a result of it, we saw growth of trade and commerce because of the discoveries of new lands, discoveries of new sea route, and the concept of colonialism. It helps a number of powerful countries of Europe. They establish their colonies over Asia, Europe, and Africa. By utilizing the sea routes, the discoveries help them to be more and more powerful, and due to spirit of inquiry, they were able to discover a new sea routes throughout Asia, Europe, and Africa. The monarchs also supported them. So the monarchs were also supported by the rich merchants and businessmen, traders, because of their own interests. The businessmen and traders realized that they must extend their cooperation towards the monarchs, so that They must become benefited with the discoveries and trade and commerce from commerce with different countries of the world. They did not want to restrict their trading areas within Europe itself, but towards the whole world. That's why they strongly supported the stance of the monarchs and also helped the monarchs to make them benefited. That's why there were immense contributions in art, architecture, and literature. People could express themselves and were not restricted by the dictates of the church. France and England, these two countries of Europe, emerged as two powerful monarchies in the world. Why? Because both these two countries established so many colonies throughout Asia, Europe, and Africa, especially England. England had established three colonies in three important places of the world: America, India, and Africa. America, India, and Africa. England was able to establish its colonies in America, India, and Africa. And with the advent of modern civilization, with the advent of growth and development in the field of trade and commerce, people became benefited, and these countries, powerful countries like England and France, were able to establish its colonies in various countries of Europe, Asia, and Africa. Ultimately, it started a gradual awakening in the 14th century, and this awakening helped them to be more and more conscious of new ideas and thoughts. The power and glory of Europe reached its highest extent because of the establishment of colonies in Asia, Europe, and Africa. These colonies, especially the colonies of England in America, India, and Africa, also led the way of world trade, international trade and commerce. Ultimately, England became benefited with international trade and commerce because of the discovery of new sea routes, and afterwards the discovery of new machines also helped England, and England became a center of fashion and culture. And the Industrial Revolution also took place first in England, and a number of inventions, discoveries of different machines also helped England to be powerful in industry and industrial growth. As a result of it, other countries of Europe also followed the pathway of the industrial policy of England, and ultimately they all were benefited with it. Besides, during the industrial age, or during the Renaissance age or Reformation age, another two things happened. Decline of the authority of the Roman Catholic Church, as I mentioned. What was the result of it? The Roman Catholic Church started Counter Reformation. Decline of the authority of the Roman Catholic Church resulted in Counter Reformation. The Roman Catholic Church realized that something should be done by means of their own effort. What should be done? They realized that there should be certain addition alteration in the structure of the church. That's why they started Counter Reformation. This Counter Reformation helped the Roman Catholic Church to gain back its former glory and image. Ultimately, the Counter Reformation helped them to be confident, and helped them to gain back the faith of some group of people, and achievements of the two concepts of the Renaissance and the Reformation. The Renaissance helped the people to learn unknown things by means of their education, the rare rationalistic views and concept. People did not accept anything without scientific cause. They experimented each and every views and then ultimately accepted it. What thing they accepted? The thing which should have been accepted, they accepted it. The things which should be discarded, they discarded it. Why? Because of the scientific knowledge, because of scientific speed, because of rationalism, growth of rationalism and educational growth, the knowledge and education towards unknown things. They came to know from scientists, they came to know from the reformers, they came to know from social thinkers, and ultimately they all became conscious and aware of their duties and responsibilities, and they all became educated, conscious, and they ultimately became helpful with the concept of Renaissance and Reformation. Reformation, in the age of Reformation, the Roman Catholic Church, the decline of the Roman Catholic Church also resulted in another movement. The movement is known as Counter Reformation. The Counter Reformation, it was started by whom? It was started by Roman Catholic Church. It was started by the Roman Catholic Church, and the concepts and the effect of the concepts of Renaissance and Reformation also helped the people. People became aware, sincere. Besides, the discovery of new sea routes, the discovery of new machines, the growth and development of international trade and commerce throughout the whole Europe, and the advent of the monarchs that were helped by the traders and businessmen, also changed the entire circumstances of the world. They all decided to encourage the activities of the astronauts to discover new sea routes. So the monarchs also encouraged the astronauts to discover new lands, new sea routes throughout Asia, Europe, and Africa, and ultimately there came a new sensation among the different nations of the world to be benefited with it. Ultimately, the new sea routes were discovered, people became aware, monarchs also were benefited, businessmen, traders also were benefited, and the nations and the concept of nationalism helped powerful countries of Europe. As a result of it, Europe became very much powerful throughout the whole world, and it is due to the efforts of England where England was able to establish 3 colonies in America, India, and Africa, and ultimately it also paved the rise of new concept, the growth and development in the field of industry, the Industrial Revolution. It is due to the Industrial Revolution the people of the whole world were benefited, although the small-scale industries were ruined and large-scale industries took place. But people who purchase goods in high cost, now they were able to purchase it in low cost. Why? Because of invention of different machines and establishment of factories and industries helped them to be benefited only because of the Renaissance age, only because of the Reformation. People became aware. They came out of the control of the Roman Catholic Church and received knowledge freely, and their experimentation Their scientific sphere, their scientific inquiry also helped them to be self-sufficient, and ultimately a new age, a new era, also awakened the whole society. This new era witnessed a remarkable development throughout the whole world. Up to this, my dear students, thank you.